who was killed in a training accident on Friday. The thoughts and prayers of the Albany County Legislature goes out to him and his family. We've been at war for decades, and the training that goes on for these young men and women is very dangerous, and we deeply appreciate your service and your sacrifice. Mr. Bullock.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ask the Deputy Clerk to please call the roll.
Beston. Bullock. Bergdorf. Kale. Chapman. Clay. Camiso. Kraus. Cunningham. Dawson. Demolowitz. Drake. Ethier. Feeney. Fine. Fernair. Grimm. Higgins. Hogan. Andrew Joyce.
Here.
Raymond Joyce. Lakakis. Lockhart. Mariello. Mayo. McKnight. McLean Lane. Mendick. Miller. O'Brien. Plosky. Reinhardt. Simpson. Smith. Stevens. Touche. Tunney. Ward. Willingham. 35 present. No, sorry, I'm wrong. 36. Okay. Is that right? 37, I'm sorry.
I'd like to note additional sponsors with the clerk. I'd like to remind everyone to silence their cell phones. Mr. Bullock. We have a motion to move local law C, take it out of order, and deal with the first thing on our agenda. Seconded by Mr. Feeney. All those in favor? Opposed? Have the clerk please read local law C.
Local Law C for 2018, a local law to provide access to paid sick time to qualified employees within Albany County.
Mr. Bullock.
Nearly all of the earned sick leave laws that are now in effect or soon be in effect in 12 states, Maine included, and 40 localities, including New York City and Westchester County. The American workplace has failed to respond to the changes in the makeup of our workforce. Low-income workers, especially single parents, are particularly affected. They are often in jobs with no benefits and no vacation or sick leave. Nationwide, more than 37 million workers, most in the private sector, most with low earnings, have no paid sick leave on their jobs. In Albany County, about 60,000 workers have no paid sick days. We had the study for this. We did the research. We did the studies, and that's the number we have come up with. 60,000, and that's outrageous for Albany County. Hispanic and black workers lack paid sick days in greater percentages than white workers. It is important to emphasize that the proposed Albany paid sick time is similar to other paid sick time laws throughout the country, which have been successfully implemented with no harm to businesses or to the economy. The structure of these laws that now successfully cover over 40 million workers with no harm to business is identical to the law proposed by Albany County. For example, under the proposed law, as in sick time laws, paid sick time is earned or accrued based on the number of employees an employee works. Almost all jurisdictions, including New York City, use the same accrual rate proposed in this law. 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked, up to a maximum cap of 40 hours. Smaller businesses only need to provide unpaid sick leave. Those are businesses with 5 employees or less. Enforcement is in this local law and is similar to all laws around the country. It's there, please read it. I want you to take a minute to lay out the ways in which Albany County's local law C takes into account the particular needs of smaller businesses and nonprofits. Employees with five or fewer employees are only required to provide unpaid sick days. Waiting period for use. There is a 90-day waiting period before any sick time can be used. Therefore, employees in many short-term seasonal businesses and most camp counselors employed by nonprofits will not work long enough to use paid sick time. This includes businesses like Gupto's and includes the YMCA, who employ mostly part-time seasonal employees. Employees earn sick time based on the number of hours worked. For employers that employ a large number of part-time and occasional workers, this will mean that many employees will accrue time slowly and many will never reach the annual cap on paid sick time. Nonprofits with workers on a specific grant or contract will have a delayed effective date for those workers. Organizations that are tax exempt under 501c3 and employ workers who work exclusively under a specific contract or grant will not be required to provide paid sick time until the contract or grant expires. Our research clearly shows that paid sick time laws all around the country, all very similar to Albany County, have not caused problems for employers or the economy, and indeed have a positive effect on many businesses. You have to look at the cost-benefit analysis to understand that statement. We have provided details of many studies that have been done on the effect of paid sick time laws in jurisdictions throughout the country, and we urge you to read those studies. San Francisco's law has been in effect for 12 years. It's been studied and restudied, all the studies showing no adverse effect on San Francisco businesses. And job growth there is better than in adjoining counties. In Connecticut, a survey of employers indicated that Connecticut paid sick time law has had no effect on employer businesses. Studies in New York City following implementation of paid sick time show steady job growth, and a 2016 report by the Center for Economic Policy and Research, the Murphy Institute, also showed that New York City's earned sick leave law has worked well for businesses. An overwhelming 98% of employees surveyed by this study reported no known cases of abuse of earned sick time. As one restaurant owner put it, the misuse he feared prior to the law's passage didn't happen.
Mr. Bullock, I just wanted to remind us we have 5 minutes apiece, so if you could finish your points, we can get on to some other speakers.
I only got 7 more pages.
7 more pages?
All right, let me finish it.
I bet that last paragraph's really good. Okay, so the chamber was crying wolf because the chambers of commerce in almost every single jurisdiction around the country have said the same thing. Paid sick time when paid sick time was proposed. None of the dire warnings that preceded enactment of paid sick time ever came to pass anywhere, and these laws have been enacted. I won't do the point-by-point refutation. I just want to say a couple of things here. The domestic violence clause that the chamber was threatening that domestic abusers would be enabled by paid sick time. We haven't heard anything from the chamber on that because it's false. It's totally false. We are not enabling any abusers, any criminals to get paid sick time in this local law. It's just another scare tactic, period.
And, you know, I just want to say a couple of things on this local law. We have done the studies. I have not seen one study from the Chamber of Commerce, from businesses. I have not seen one survey. I have not seen one statistical analysis. We have done the studies. This is good for businesses. This keeps experienced employees in businesses. It keeps more people become more productive, and it helps the workers. It's a poor people's campaign issue, and it's needed in Albany County for the 60,000 people in Albany County not covered by paid sick days.
Mr. Senior.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, I guess it's time he's undecided. I've been telling you all for the last couple of years I'm undecided. And there's no way that I'm going to dispute my colleague, Mr. Doug. He's did a tremendous job. He's worked hard at this. He says action works just as hard. And he did a heck of a job. But I'm not undecided on the issue. I never have been. The issue is a wonderful issue. What I'm undecided on is I come up from a generation of unions. I've been a union rep my whole life. I'm probably one of the longest union persons in here. Vacation, pensions, working conditions, health benefits, all done by unions because employers and employees do not make an agreement. And I heard people tonight say that the employers do things for the employees. That's true. In some cases, they probably don't. And that's where organized labor should be fighting this battle. I know they're behind it, but they're not leading the way. And I'm an organized union labor man. So it's not going to go that way. You want to put in the hands of government. That's where I got to draw the line. Because I don't think it belongs in the hands of government at our level or the state. But least of all, to put it in our little county of Albany, for our business. I don't know what's going to hurt our business. I don't even know what's going to hurt the customers that go to these businesses. But it's not a fair playing field. And that's why I'm going to make my decision right at this moment. It is because I was told last month that I'm a leader in this union, this organization. I should be solicited. I haven't solicited one member in here, one way or the other. Yes, I'm a majority leader, deputy, yes, I am, and I haven't brought any years. Make up your own mind on this issue. I had a tough time with this decision. And I wouldn't use my office to pressure anyone to do what you want. And I haven't did that. But in my own little world, being a union man, I got a tough decision to make. But I just think it's very unfair for the county of Albany to be straddled with this thing when the rest of the state doesn't have it. And what ticks me off even more, why Doug and whoever's behind this didn't go up to the state capitol in January. Up there we got Assembly Democrat, Senate Democrat, the administration Democrat. This cries Democrat all the way. They could go up there with this tomorrow morning and pass this thing in 2 months if they want to do it. And that's where it should be. You're going to take the government. I think it's a union, not government. But if you want to go there, that's where I think it should go. And I want to compliment you for what the job you've done to bring it this far. But up there, we got control of the Assembly, the Senate, the governor's mansion, all Democratic issues. I see no reason why they couldn't survey the state, get a feel from it, and resolve this in 2 months. Because it ain't just Albany County's got 60,000 people that are working. It needs a sick day. The whole state must have it. What an issue. What an issue for organized labor. With that all being said, I'll be voting against it. Reluctant.
Mr. Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, sorry that we're against each other. We're going to be voting for this law. Albany County is in a unique situation. We're not just a county. We're almost like a region. We all were elected within our little district. Mine is the first district. the poorest district in our county, in our city. That's the south end of Albany, where everybody was ready to come to the newly proposed Board of Election down on South Pearl Street. These people are often unemployed, they're often homeless, they're the last people to get jobs when you go to an employer. And then they become sick, and their kids are sick, and they have nowhere to go. I preached to my caucus about my neighborhood being called a food desert. We've lost Rite Aid. Drugstore that I promoted 10 years ago. Brand new building is sitting, I think it's at 315 South Pearl Street. And I think they also lost Stewart's Ice Cream on Morton Avenue. We lost Customers Electric that was there for over 30, maybe 50 years. These were established businesses in a low-income neighborhood. All of their employees who were low-income people, now I don't know where they went in life, where they work in life. We've got the largest homeless shelter in this county on South Pearl Street in my district. When these people get sick, they come to us from Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, anywhere you can name in this state, in this county, in this region. We take care of them here in Albany County. It's not just a little county with the 310,000 registered Democratic voters, I hope, but we take care of all people from everywhere. It's almost like an international county. So wherever you find them, that's where we take care of them. If we find them here in Albany, we have to feed them. We have to clothe them. We have to put them to bed. So people, you have to understand, we don't come in here not knowing what we're stepping into when we step into the body of the Albany County government. A huge, huge organization. A big undertaking. So you must know that we think hard about our decisions we make in these 39 seats. So you imagine tossing that around in your head for 20 months. And my first introduction to this law was in Saratoga County, a county that avoided homeless shelters for a long time. And when they have the racetrack, they kick all their homeless people out, they send them down here in Albany on South Pearl Street. So you think about all the ramifications that happen before a person gets here, gets homeless, gets sick, and then boom, they're Albany County 162 of the welfare office, Washington Avenue. So you think about the ramifications of a person's life and how do we have to deal with those, all those problems. And they go through each one of our minds as we make a decision whether to support anything to do with humanity, human beings. So I ask each and every one of you tonight to think about that. It's a human being who needs help, who needs services. So I'm going to be voting for this, and I ask all of my colleagues to put your human heart tonight and vote for the sick and helpless people. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mullins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to not have an opportunity to correct a few speakers. Mr. Regan from the Chamber said that the Chamber has never got involved in anything. Well, that's not true. The Chamber was at the forefront, and Mr. Regan, in closing selling and privatizing a nursing home a few years ago. I think we forgot about that, didn't we? And look at it today. Look at this November or this fall, we're be cutting a ribbon on an $80 million facility that's not costing the taxpayer a dime. Good thing we didn't listen to the Chamber then. Obviously, the representative from the hotel industry didn't come by the way of Wolf Road. Because there's more hotels on Wolf Road, being built on Wolf Road, and our hotel taxes on even more, so we hope we build more. So hoteliers aren't avoiding Albany County. They can't wait to find more spots to put a hotel in. In fact, I think they're putting 2 of them out on, here's over on 9W. Yeah, and so obviously that's that. But let me tell you my story why I support this law. I was at the world's largest retailer on Washington Avenue Extension. Check it out. This girl was sicker than heck. Sneezing, looked terrible. I said, you should be home. How come you're here working? She said, I want to go home, but my supervisor won't let me. Won't let me. I said, you should not be here working. You're going to contaminate everybody in the place. So obviously, I left my stuff on the belt and walked out. That's who we're representing, not girl. That's who we're representing, the employees of all these businesses that we all support. That's who we're representing. And that's not, those people aren't here. They're all working. And you know, you're right, they should be unionized, because they don't have a voice. But they don't have a voice. Not everybody, not every small company is a union representative. But the fact is, there's a lot of people, the working poor in this county, who go to work sick every day because they have to, take care of their families because they have to, just like that young lady who spoke about her husband. That's the fact. That's the facts. And I heard this 100 times before. When I would walk forward smoking, banning smoking in Albany County in bars and restaurants, right? Every bar and restaurant, oh, we're going to go out of business, we're going to close, it's going to kill us, right? What happened? Their business is up, their employees are healthier, they're working in a more clean, safer environment because of that law, and nobody even likes being around small banking places now. So this is just, you know, back when it passed Social Security, I bet these guys will all be up there saying we can't afford it. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll be supporting it tonight. Thank you.
I could just add my voice to this. Our office met with the chamber at the beginning of this process. It became pretty clear to us that there was nothing that we were going to be able to do to make the chamber support paid sick days. The chamber, in my opinion, has been the voice of small business, medium-sized business all throughout Albany County. And now we're seeing them come in tonight. We're hearing from them. Albany County Legislature established an economic development task force in 2017. And one of the key takeaways from that task force was we cannot be doing things in a vacuum here. When we draft this legislation, we need to bring stakeholders in from businesses, small and large, to provide input so we don't get in a situation where we're doing things to you or vice versa. So if paid sick days passes tonight, we're going to convene another sub-task force with stakeholders in business from all different industry in Albany County. We're going to closely track implementation, and if it passes, look at every step of the way. We're going to amend things on our agenda tonight. And if we need to amend this thing a year from now based off any impact, that's what we're going to do. That was our intent all along. Ms. William.
Most of you know that we involved in campaigning very hard. And with that, most of the houses that I have went to in my district, there's certain things that people are aware of, and there's certain things that they are not aware of. This paid sick leave has become a really hot topic for the people that I represent. But I have also people who are my business constituents. I have a large business constituency. However, I stopped at a door just this week, and a woman came to the door, and I was asking for her vote, and she said, I want you to take a good look at me. I want to know where you stand on the paid sick leave. And I told her, I said, well, I'm voting for it. And she said, I'm glad you said that. Because once you take a good look at me again, she didn't have me here. She had been undergoing cancer treatments. And she talked about what she had gone through. She had been employed, and she said that her employer stuck with her as long as they could. Had they not had paid sick leave, she would not be able to afford to pay her rent. And she talked about what she had gone through once they let her go to unemployment, did not pay her rent. It was really a sad story. Now, when we think about the money that people make each and every day, we have to begin to compare how people live, the cost of living, what it does take to keep a household going. This woman lives alone. What about the woman that has children, whether it's one, whether it's two? What about the young mother that has to take time off from work to at least have some bonding time. Now, some of us were able to take maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months off with our children. Not so. You're gonna get 6 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're gonna have to get back to work. God forbid that that baby gets sick, or you get sick on your way back to trying to work. We really need to think about what we are doing tonight and who the real people are that are being affected by not having paid sick leave. Most of my business constituency, a lot of them offer some type of leave, but it's only one leave that they get. They don't get sick leave, they get leave. And that leave has to be used for sick, has to be used for vacation, has to be used for personal time. There is a difference between sick leave and vacation. So I ask you to think about these young people, as the young man talked about, but also about the people that are trying to stay alive, that still need to work, that are a little older too, and what they go through in trying to keep jobs, trying to keep food on their table, because there are a lot of seniors that still need to work. So remove yourself just for a moment from where you are and think about somebody besides yourself. I'm going to vote in favor of this tonight, and it's all because of that woman that I saw, who was not a young woman, but who was telling me her story about how she could barely pay her rent, and she would not have lasted as long as she did unless her employer had paid her while she was sick.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the sentiments of everybody who contributed to the dialogue on this legislation tonight. Great points, et cetera. I have heard a few things. For example, businesses will go to Saratoga County. Well, Albany County has a 12.6% poverty rate. Saratoga County is 6.6. So, there are, differences in communities and differences in counties. I actually managed a business in Manhattan on 61st Street between Madison and Fifth. And our rent was $83,000 a month. And we definitely operated on small margins. With 1 doctor on staff, 11 RN/LPN, 1 NP, these are all nursing, sorry to use acronyms. And some were part-time, some were full-time. But we had a sort of custodial staff there, and we had a nursing staff and defensive staff, et cetera. And everybody had paid sick leave, every single one. And so, but we definitely had to pay to operate that business. Now, people have mentioned, well, it's different in New York City, it's different in San Francisco. Yeah, it's a lot more expensive to run a business. Now, does that change the fact that it's expensive to run here and there are different profit margins, et cetera? It's all relative, and I do appreciate what the businesses do here. But let's not forget about the fact that different communities have different ups and downs in, what it costs to run a business, how much you have to pay those employees, et cetera. I can say that, for example, an RN in Manhattan is approximately $90,000 a year at minimum. Here, it is half of that. So with that, I just wanted to explain some of those differences that we come across in case they, haven't sort of gotten out into the ether with us. I am supportive of this legislation. I, interestingly enough, have not had any constituents reach out to me opposing it. I have had 3 or 4 approximately, a couple emails. One actually came here and spoke at a public forum who was in support
That being said, I don't want to just make my decisions just based upon specifically my district, but I am, as I said, going to be voting for it. I just wanted to explain a little bit about the differences in sort of the communities that either have this or don't have it. Thank you so much.
Mr. Clapp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will prolong this argument. The arguments speak for themselves. But just for the record, I speak for the Legislative Black Caucus to say that we support the legislation. And it adversely affects people of color more than any other population in the county, we think. And so we are 100% behind the legislation, just for the record.
Mr. Higgins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for my delay in getting here. Unfortunately, things are a little busy at the Hill where it works. I guess I approach this. I've always been a supporter of this. I jumped on this bill. When it was first introduced several years ago, for me, it's quite simple. I feel that there's a moral obligation that government should help those who can least help themselves. And that's what this bill does. And I have friends in the business community. I made no bones about telling them how I feel about it. And I feel it's important to tell the advocates why I'm supporting it. And just along those lines, I just want to note, for those who are here who've been fighting so long and so hard to get this passed, pay close attention to how everybody in this room votes tonight. Because there's a primary coming up in a few weeks. There's a general election coming up in November. Many of us run unopposed. If you don't like the outcome, if it doesn't come out the way you want, keep fighting and take it out in 4 years. That's how you change the system. You elect people who support your values. So that being said, I'm a yes.
Long roll call on, local law C, please. Mr. Reinhardt.
Sorry. It just occurred to me that I was at the press event earlier. I was hearing all of the discussions tonight and in previous nights. Very, very rarely, if at all, did I hear anybody say anything about this bill as a pro-family bill. This is a pro-family bill. Now, I don't quite understand the phrase pro-family because you hear it a lot in the political arena. To me, pro-family means you want to make sure kids get a good education. You want to make sure they get good health care. You want to make sure that when you're a worker who has a family, you have some rights. This is a pro-family bill to me. And I don't know how other people want to define what pro-family is. This is a pro-family bill. What is the biggest issue that our country has faced for the last 30 years, and we're now starting to actually see it? It's income inequality. That's a big topic. This is a piece of that topic. Who's being helped? You've heard the Black Caucus speak. We know who benefits most from this is the workers at the lower wage scale parts of our economy. This is going to help them tremendously. This is a public health issue. We heard from the businesses tonight and on other nights. But to me, this is a public health issue. Some people have spoken about which constituents, what their constituents think. My constituents out in Bethlehem and New Scotland are primarily going to be benefiting from this from the perspective of the public health benefit. Gil made a point about a level playing field. I take the opposite view on it. We already have some businesses who I think are doing the right thing and they're offering paid sick leave. To help, what is the role of government? It's to help make level playing field when the public benefits. Whether it's building codes, health codes. Here's another example. We make a level playing field by requiring everybody to provide some form of paid sick leave. That helps everybody. And it does not penalize the more progressive companies who are already offering this. I think that some of the speakers from the business community tonight, especially from the restaurants, made some very interesting points about how the law is written doesn't necessarily help them in terms of like trading hours and things like that to address sickness in their staff. I would like to say, and this is something that Andrew touched on, I think, earlier, we can look at this bill and see if there are ways we can adjust it. Maybe we can use the waiver system to accommodate these different circumstances with some of the different companies and address this in a sensitive, thoughtful way. Finally, I would like to say I do think that state implementation of this would be best. Sometimes federal implementation of things like environmental laws are the best way to go. But how do these things come to pass? They come to pass through a process, and usually part of that process is local initiatives that percolate up, prove the value of the policy, and then it gets adopted at a higher level. You know, we are the laboratory for a lot of state policy and a lot of federal policy. So we should be doing our duty as a laboratory to try to do the best job we can to make good policy. And I think this bill is a step in that direction. But we need to understand that it is a process. This does not end it with what happens tonight, whether it goes down or whether it passes. It's a process. I know there are many people in the room who are part of that process, as should we be. So I'm going to be supporting it.
Mr. Eder.
I just want to mention one thing. I have a proclamation here. After the meeting, if this thing doesn't pass or gets passed, I think the county legislature should send a proclamation to the state government, our assemblies and our senators, about this position and take a look at this thing. I'll have it for after the meeting for everybody who wants to sign.
Or we can send a louder message and pass paid sick days. Long roll call on local law C, please.
Beston. No. Bullock.
Yes.
Bergdorf.
No.
Kale.
No.
Chapman.
Yes.
Clay.
Yes.
Camiso. No. Kraus.
No.
Dawson.
No.
Demolowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
No.
Ethier.
No.
Feeney.
No.
Fine.
Yes.
Fanair.
No.
Grimm.
No.
Higgins.
Aye.
Hogan.
No.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
Raymond Joyce.
Yes.
LaCactus.
Yes.
Lockhart.
No.
Muriello.
No.
Mayo.
No.
McKnight.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Mendick.
No.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Plosky.
No.
Reinhardt.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith.
No.
Stevens.
No.
Touche.
Yes.
Tunney.
No.
Ward.
No.
Willingham.
Yes.
I have 21 no, 17 yes.
Local law C fails. First item under previous business, for 497, please.
Shame on you!
Resolution number 497 for 2018, adopting a policy regarding the legislative summer internship program.
Take a moment for folks to get chambers. believe that's everyone. Mr. Ethier, I think you have an amendment for 497?
Resolved, the reservation position for each legislator district shall not be construed as a denial of additional position to the event there are more than two applicants for legislative district. In other words, it's not limited to, this is not limited to 2 people. If there's more for another district, it's okay too. I also did was, to make this a friendly thing, which I believe it is, there's no reflection on our chairman or the leadership on how they would handle this thing. It just starts at floor, we start from the future, because you never know, leadership changes, things can change. But it just, there can't, not set nothing this year, it won't take effect until 2020. So I just think I covered all the bases, everybody showed their concerns about with me. So I would hope you support it. Something that benefits all your districts. It doesn't limit nothing. It doesn't guarantee somebody being hired or whatever. It just makes it feel nice and even for the future. And that's it. Why do you want to be sure every district is covered? But if somebody wants a limited term, that's it.
Ms. Lockhart?
I couldn't hear him before, but it was okay. The door was
okay?
finally closed. Yeah.
Anybody not know what I'm saying?
I did not hear that. Well, you said, were you talking about an amendment to what we have before us?
Yes, it's not limited to 2, not to be construed that way. There's more for other districts, that's okay. All that's okay. It starts in 2020, not now that I've said anything. It's not my intention to upset anybody. It's not a reflection on the leadership as the chairman. It's a program that's been going well since we started. So like you all know, and I know, come January, this whole body can change one way or the other. And this program is a good program to keep it going on an even playing field. Every district is going to be allowed to have an intern if they so apply for one. If they're married.
So your amendment is to the first result where it says maximum not to exceed 2. You're saying that it could exceed.
We could exceed, not that they can do that, that's
And
right.
it's going to be based on the qualifications of the applicant.
Same as always. Same as always. That's all.
Mr. Kraus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Ethier, just so I'm clear, you're saying that a district isn't necessarily limited to if there are other districts where perhaps no one applies.
Correct. Correct.
So if you have 4 or 5 districts where there's no one, and other districts get there too, and maybe somebody else gets more than 2 because there are available positions to be utilized. Is that correct?
Correct, 100%.
Thank you.
100%. The other question?
Just because we implement this bad idea in 2020 doesn't make it any better. The only thing that has changed between me being here and the implementation of this internship program and the grants program is leadership change. I spoke to many of you offline about what I believe to be the true intent behind both the grants legislation and the internship legislation, and that's to take decision-making leverage away from the new leadership that came in 2017. This idea takes all the merit out of the process. This legislation languished in committee for 5 months, and we're going to try to reorganize and re-adjudicate the internship program on the floor after it's been in committee for 5 months. It's a bad idea. And we're in the middle of the process now. It's a good merit-based process that we have now if we're going to continue it, and we shouldn't set forth any changes to it. Ms. Willingham.
Wait, I'm still.
Ms. Willingham has the floor, Mr. Ethier. You already spoke. Thank you. Ms. Willingham.
Are you that rude and ignorant?
Mr. Ethier, Ms.
I
Willingham has the floor.
didn't sit down yet. Matter of fact, you spoke out.
Just because you're still standing doesn't mean you have the floor. Ms. Willingham.
This is your temporary, whatever the hell you are, the chairman for 2 years, don't mean you're right all the time. You know,
Mr. Ethier, please, could you yield to some other speakers?
Well,
You
yeah,
spoke.
but why am I getting sitting down? I wasn't doing that. I was still talking. I answered questions. tell me to sit down.
Question was answered.
You don't like
That's
the bill. It wasn't directed at you. I'll tell you what it was directed at, because down the road, we got Republicans in here too. You know, this could very possibly hurt people like them. If you get the wrong leadership up here, who don't condone Republicans or Democrats, it could hurt people like that. This is an even thing. It gives everybody a chance to have a job in their district. Now I'll sit down. But I think you're out of order, Mr. Chairman. And it wasn't directed at you to begin with.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to say that I have worked on this for the last couple of years, interviewing people. There's a lot of work that goes into this. The one thing that I do know is that nobody, no one that applies is turned away. If the rules have been bent, they've been bent to ensure that if somebody misses the deadline for filing an application, guess what we do? We hire them. That's what we do. This is all about ensuring that young people get the best possible experience that they can. It has absolutely nothing to do with where these kids come from. We make sure. We don't know if they're Republicans. We don't know if they're Democrats. All we know is that these young people have taken the time to go online, to put an application in. They set up the interviews, and it's all done by staff. They set up the interviews, they come in, we talk to them, and they earn. Some of them are working in their first jobs. There's nothing wrong with the process. Why should I have to go to you? Because no one came from your district. I don't know where they came from. That's not what we look at. Not at all. It has nothing to do with the districts. It has to do with the kids, the young people who filled out the applications. Not whether they came from your district. Who has the time to go through over, I don't know, 100 or more applications to figure out, let me see, the third district or the fourth district, they have 10 young people from their area. So, I think over here in the 31st district, they don't have anybody. So, okay, all right, Norma, you have to go ask the 31st district if you can have their 2 spots. How much sense does that make when everybody is being hired to begin with? You talk about something that is really going to throw this into a quandary if we do something like this. It's not right. It has nothing to do with the chair at all. It has to do with allowing young people to work for a living for the first time in an environment, in an office environment. It's just that plain and simple.
I sent out an email today saying why I was going to vote no for this. And there were 4 points on it, and 2 of them have been addressed by this amendment. However, the most important one, which is the one about us having our fingers in it, is the part that I have the most concern about. And since Mr. Easter, who I have the utmost respect for, would not discuss it in committee at all, we really haven't had a chance to discuss it in committee, and perhaps we would have come up with a better product if we had all had part of it. Do I support the process by which whoever staff does it, and talking about it? Of course. Do I need us to have a vote about it? I think not. So I'd like to make a motion to put it back to committee.
The motion is send it back to committee. Is there a second? It's been in committee for 5 months, folks. Sponsor that language there. I don't know what sending it back is going to do. I think we need to adjudicate this tonight. Mr. Eaton.
One, with all due respect, this ain't to hurt anybody. Program goes the way it goes. Staff will work as hard as they can. What is wrong? And when the staff is doing this, or the chairman who's here now, or the chairman who may be there later, has nothing to do with nothing. As long as they know in their mind when they're going through all this process, They gotta be cautious to be sure that every district is gonna be covered. That's all. It ain't stopping the process. It ain't saying nobody's working hard. The process will keep going the way it's going. It ain't meant to hurt anybody. You just so the staff, matter of fact, we have no rules right now. What are the rules right now about this whole thing? Is there any rules right now? Is there any rules about how this is done?
There's a policy.
The policy, are there any rules?
They're set forth on the application.
Yeah. So along with that policy, you can make sure when they're doing this, that every district is in the back of the staff's mind, whoever's doing it, that we gotta make sure that every district is gonna be okay with a body there if somebody from that district applies. That's all. It ain't stopping the process they work hard at. They do none of that stuff. Just next year, they gotta say, okay, there's 39 legislative districts, and we got 20 people applied, well, there ain't gonna be no problem. But if 60 people apply, well, we gotta make sure that we're not gonna throw 5 people in one district, and a couple of districts might be shortchanged. You gotta keep in mind that every district can be covered. And I'm not telling Wanda, nobody has to go to the other legislature to do anything. The staff can do the whole thing. The staff can do it. The staff can do all that. That's all. The staff does everything. You don't have to call me or I call you. The staff should oversee this thing. That's all it's about. Not us going back and forth. Okay, no. If there's openings, the staff handles it. They don't have to, they can call you if they want it. Right now, if anybody calls you to tell you who's in your district, they just hired, I believe it was 46 college kids. Is that what you told me, Tim? 46 college kids just got hired. Is everybody told they are?
We got an email today.
I got the email.
Got an email? Everybody else get emails? So we got their names? Got their districts? Huh? Now excuse me, Mr. Higgins, you're leaving, don't do this nonsense. I'm just telling you. Well, that's too bad.
Folks, just speak to that.
Somebody's can't be here for 40 years, and somebody like you can't get any other position.
Come on, fellas.
So besides all that being said, you tried for enough positions.
Folks, please keep it down. Mr. Higgins, Mr. Higgins, Mr. Higgins, Mr. Higgins, Mr. Higgins. Mr. Ethier, Mr. Ethier, please wrap up your points and we'll get going. Thank you.
It's an easy thing to do. It's very easy. If you want to vote it down, it's your district, not mine. Do what you want.
Long roll call on the amendment for resolution 497, please.
Beston.
No.
Bullock.
No.
Bergdorf.
No.
Kale.
Yes.
Chapman. Chapman. Clay. Camiso. Kraus.
No.
Dawson. Demolowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
No.
Ether.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
No.
Frenier.
Yes.
Grimm.
No.
Higgins. Hogan.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
No.
Raymond Joyce.
No.
Lakakis.
No.
Lockhart.
No.
Mariello.
No.
Mayo.
Yes.
McKnight.
No.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Mendick.
Yes.
Miller.
No.
O'Brien.
No.
Plosky. Reinhardt.
No.
Simpson.
No.
Smith.
No.
Stevens.
Yes.
Touche.
No.
Tunney.
Yes.
Ward. Willingham. 11 yes, 27 no.
Amendment to resolution 497 fails. On the resolution, long roll call, please.
Beston. Bullock.
No.
Bergdorf.
No.
Kale.
Yes.
I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Chapman. Clay.
No.
Camiso. Kraus. Dawson. Demolowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
No.
Ethier.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
No.
Vernier.
Yes.
Grimm.
No.
Higgins. Hogan.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
No.
Raymond Joyce.
No.
Lakakis.
No.
Lockhart.
No.
Mariello.
No.
Mayo.
No.
McKnight.
No.
McLean Lane.
No.
Mendick.
No.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
No.
Plosky.
No.
Reinhardt.
No.
Simpson.
No.
Smith.
No.
Stevens.
No.
Touche.
No.
Tunney.
Yes.
Ward. Willingham.
No.
27, no. 10 yes, 27 no.
Resolution number 497 fails, 27 to 10. Resolution number 208, please.
Appointment of members to the Community Services Board, Mental Health and Alcohol and Substance Abuse Subcommittees.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 208 passes. Resolution number 218, please.
Requesting that the Albany County Executive and Commissioners of the Department of Human Resources and Office of Management and Budget complete a feasibility study regarding the incorporation of certain health insurance benefits for retirees into the proposed regional health care custodian.
Mr. Bergdorf.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor, please.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution number 218 passes. Resolution number 223, please.
Creating a Facilities Condition Assessment Committee.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution number 223 passes. First item under current business, number 224, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement with Capital District Physicians Health Plan regarding corporate suite number 23 at the Times Union Center.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution number 224 passes. 225, please.
Authorizing a lease agreement with Schenectady Hardware and Electric regarding corporate suite number 18 at the Times Union Center.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution 225 passes. Resolution 226, please.
Authorizing lease agreements with BBL Construction Services and Manufacturers and Traders Trust Company regarding corporate suite number 1 at the Times Union Center.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 226 passes. 227, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Reifenberg Contracting Corp. regarding various projects in the towns of Westerlo, Richland, Fairville, and Queens.
Mr. O'Brien.
Please, I'd like to abstain.
Mr. O'Brien's abstention. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 227 passes with 1 abstention. 228, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Takeoff Construction Company regarding the superstructure replacement project of County Route 253 over Norfolk Southern Railroad in the town of Knox.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 228 passes. 229, please.
Authorizing an agreement with DLC Electric regarding the installation of bollards in front of the Times Union Center.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 229 passes. Number 230, please.
Declaring Albany County lead agency for the purpose of state environmental quality review for the Albany County Rail Trail Bridge over New Scotland Road project.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 230 passes. Number 231, please.
Authorizing an agreement with Atlantic Pavement Marking, Inc. regarding the stripping of various county highways.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 230 232, please.
Amending the 2019 Department of Public Works budget, Consolidated Local Street and Highway Improvement Program.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 232 passes. For 233, please.
Authorizing an agreement with architecture regarding engineering and construction consulting services for renovations at the Times Union Center.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 233 passes. For 234, please.
Authorizing an agreement with National Business Technologies regarding lease and maintenance services for county copiers.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 234 passes. Number 235, please.
Amending resolution number 512 of 2018 regarding the Albany County Equity Agenda.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 235 passes. Number 236, please.
Amending resolution number 137 for 2019 regarding homeless shelter services in Albany County.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 236 passes. Number 237, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New York State Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Services regarding opioid response funds.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 237 passes. Number 238, please.
Authorizing agreements with the Capital Behavioral Health Network regarding managed Medicaid contracts.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 238 passes. Number 239, please.
Authorizing the Department for Children, Youth, and Families to consider out-of-county applicants for the positions of caseworker, staff social worker, and special education evaluator.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 239 passes. Number 240, please.
Authorizing the Department of Mental Health to consider out-of-county applicants for the positions of psychologist, staff social worker, and psychiatric nurse.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number 240 passes. Number 241, please.
Authorizing the Department of Social Services to consider out-of-county applicants for the position of registered nurse.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mr. Higgins is a no. Is anyone else a no? Number 241 passes with one no vote. Number 242, please.
Authorization to submit a grant application and an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding the Crimes Against Revenue Program.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 242 passes. 243, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application and an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Initiative and amending the 2019 District Attorney's Office budget.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 243 passes. For 244, please.
Amending the 2019 District Attorney's Office budget.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 244 passes. Number 245, please.
Authorizing the submission of a grant application to the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the state Homeland Security and Law Enforcement Terrorism Prevention Programs.
I note my extension here in the desk. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 245 passes. One abstention. For 246, please.
Authorizing the acceptance of New York State Department of Transportation multi-modal grant funding regarding traffic control improvements on Albany Shaker Road and amending the 2019 Albany County budget.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 246 passes. For 247, please.
Amending the 2019 Albany County budget.
Long roll call, please.
Feston. Bullock. Bergdorf. Kale. Chapman. Clay. Camiso. Kraus. Dawson. Demolowitz. Drake. Ethier. Feeney. Fine. Grenier.
Yes.
Grimm.
Yes.
Grimm. Higgins. Hogan.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
Yes.
Ray Joyce.
Yes.
Lakakis.
Yes.
Lockhart. Murriello.
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes.
McKnight.
Yes.
McLean Lane.
Yes.
Mendick.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Plosky. Reinhardt.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Stevens. Touche.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Willingham.
Yes.
Unanimous.
247 passes, unanimous. 248, please.
Authorizing the execution of an option agreement with St. Catherine's Center for Children regarding the purchase of real property located at 543 North Pearl Street in the city of Albany.
Ms. Willingham?
Thank you. I would like to speak about this resolution because it is in my district. This was a building that, it started out as a Sacred Heart School. And from there it went to two nursing home options. And then the building just decayed. I mean, to the degree that the people next door could see all kind of critters inside the building at night, all kind of bugs crawling down the side of the wall. But St. Catherine's came in and decided that they would do something with this place. The creative way in which they got the funds to demolish this building, and it is going to become supportive housing. You know that there are a lot of people, I see them even in my neighborhood. There's a young man that my son came home a few months ago, and he saw the neighborhood homeless person underneath the bridge. And he said, "Mom, stop." And I said, "Do you know him?" And he said, "Yes, I went to school with him." A lot of people think that homeless people come from places that outside of Albany County, that somebody's just bringing them in from New York City or somewhere. That is not the case. There are people that have fell on hard times. There are also people who suffer from different forms of mental illness. And so, with that said, the supportive housing that they are going to put in there will be to uplift some of these people who just need a helping hand. It's going to be 3 stories, and I think it's also going to be a way in which it's going to help build the community back up again. I just want to speak about this, because this stayed on the rolls for a while. It went through 3 or 4 hands before it got into the hands of the right people. So I just ask that you support this, which I know that you will, but I just have to stand and talk about here are some things that do work when it comes to getting rid of properties and putting them in the right hands of the right people. Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 248 passes. Thank you, Ms. Willingham. 249, please.
Authorizing an agreement with the Albany County Land Bank Corporation regarding e-Property Plus software.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 249 passes. Number 250, please.
Authorizing the conveyance of various parcels of real property to the Albany County Land Bank Corporation.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 250 passes. Number 251, please.
Rescinding the conveyance of real property pursuant to resolution number 271 for 2018 and authorizing the conveyance of 182 Abbreviator Street in the city of Albany.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Take a brief pause. We do have an amendment on 251. Someone want to speak on this? Should be on your desks. The amendment is to make it in accordance with the county's disposition plan, so we'll have a motion to reopen the vote. Mr. Feeney, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? On the amended version of resolution number 251. On the amendment for resolution 251. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The amendment for resolution 251 passes. Resolution 251 as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution number 251 as amended passes. Thank you, folks. Resolution number 252, please.
Authorizing a correction to the tax rolls for the city of Albany.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 252 passes. Number 253, please.
Authorizing the refund of real property taxes in the city of Albany.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Malice? 253 passes. Mr. Malice would like to be added to that. Number 254, please.
Authorizing the renewal of an agreement with InfoQuick Solutions regarding an indexing, cashiering, and scanning system for the county clerk's office.
All those in favor? Opposed? 254 passes. Does anyone want to vote on local law C again? Local law N for 2018.
A local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending section 1101 of the Albany County Charter and local law number 8 for 1993 as subsequently amended to promote the hiring of an economic development director.
Mr. Simpson.
Yeah, this is an issue both existential and universal. This issue first came to my attention in 2016 when it was first suggested that the charter designated position of Director of Economic Development, Conservation, and Planning remove the planning requirement, although one of the major purposes of that body is to deal with planning and to supervise planning professionals. But worse than that, it seems like the continued impetus for this is to lower the qualifications for this position, to use it for patronage and nepotism purposes. And that larger issue is something that was one of the major rationales for me running for the county legislature, because I've had a history of working with merit system and civil service, and I'm a strong believer in merit. And we have to understand that even though we're in the unclassified service, where we're explicitly political, it is still required of us to get the most qualified people for positions. And I've shared an email with all the legislators in which I clearly am not necessarily against a patronage appointment if somebody meets the minimum qualifications and preferably exceeds them. But when somebody does not meet the minimum qualifications and is appointed, and where the qualifications of a position are lowered to meet somebody who's an unqualified political operative, that is totally against the best interest of the people we represent. So I'm diametrically opposed to this on the specifics, and even more opposed on the structural policy issues. I think we should vote against this.
Well, I didn't come prepared to speak existentially tonight. But I did come prepared to talk about the impetus behind this proposed local law. It's funny, there's a whole lot going on in here, but what we're talking about. Anyway, the chairman tasked myself, Chris Smith, and others, the Economic Development Task Force, and part and parcel of that, we met with representatives from various towns, villages, cities, etc. We asked them, what do you think is missing here in Albany County? What are some of the things that we could do better in promoting economic development here as a county, not just for Bethlehem or Cohoes or Green Island? And every one of them said, we need a quarterback, we need somebody at the helm, somebody who can help us bring opportunities to the table, recognize opportunities, make connections, that kind of thing. So I undertook, along with the help of Chris Smith, to endeavor to create a situation where we could better fill a position that the community of economic planners, and I'll get into that, feel is sorely needed. I never looked at this as actually dumbing down the qualifications, because actually what we're doing here is crafting it to emphasize economic development. urban planning or rural planning or municipal planning. Mr. Reinhardt's boiling his seat. But those things, we have jobs at the county already. We have people that do that. We also have the Albany County Planning Board. So my job was to help create a position. My job was to help create a position that might help us grow development in Albany County. Now, I think it's interesting, though, as the sponsor of this law, that indirectly I'm being accused of creating a patronage position. For who? Certainly not me. I don't have anybody to put in patronage positions because it has nothing to do with that. So, at the end of the day, I think we all need to recognize, despite these kind of wanton, existential, or universal, whichever that was, accusations of being thrown, that we as a legislature still need to approve anyone submitted by the executive for appointment to this or any other appointment. So, we are not giving up that control. So I'd just like to clarify again. We're stressing that economic development experience be the keystone of this position. To grow the economy, to grow development, to attract industry, businesses, employers to Albany County. That's the theme. We're not getting this person to do strictly planning as a municipality is concerned. We want a salesperson, somebody who's able to make connections, somebody who's able to bring stakeholders to the table for conversations and fit them in the right place within Albany County, be that Bethlehem, Green Island, Cohoes, the city of Albany, town of Calamine, Gilroy, and so on. So that's what we're here to do. We're not taking any risk. The risk already exists that a patronage appointment might be made. We're just changing how it reads. And we as a body, that's our responsibility to ferret out the wheat from the chaff. Thank you.
When this position first came up, I told Mr. Ward that if you want somebody who has certain qualifications, then create a position that meets those qualifications. But this isn't that. Planning is an integral function of this position. They supervise a group of professional planners as well as issues of conservation, which are most important in this era of climate change that is rapidly enveloping us and that we're doing so little to stop. So my position is, if you want somebody for a position that's different than the one you're trying to fill, then create that different position. But don't try to truncate a position where there are needed knowledge, skills, and abilities to effectively implement the mission to fit somebody who you want to find a place for. It's that simple.
Mr. Bergdorf?
I'm going to support this, and it comes from some real-life experience. In our town, we have a department of engineering, economic development, and planning, which for years was headed by a planner and an economic developer. And it's good to have a dynamic tension between a planner and an economic developer. Because you want your economic developer to go out and shake the trees and find people to go to Lucy's drugstore and Allison's supermarket, okay? And let the people in Manans do the planning on what the parking lot should look like and what the access should be on Broadway, or how there should be an entranceway on South Pearl Street, or what the layout should be. We have great planning departments in this county, 13 of them, each one of them that manages their own development. What we don't have is somebody to go out and try to bring business to Albany County. You heard people here tonight from the business community. They're concerned. People are leaving. Upstate is drying up. We're going to lose 2 congressional seats. There are, you know, things are great on Wolf Road. Things are not so great in other parts of the county. Somebody needs to attract business. Mr. Ward does a great job in the village of Green Island. There are phenomenal businesses come there because they're encouraged and they do outreach and they have programs and they have low-cost power and they do things to make businesses come. What do we have in Albany County? Schenectady County, whether you like it or not, has Metroplex. Rensselaer County has an economic development czar. Greene County has huge industrial parks that they're promoting and bringing people in. We don't have any of that. So we have an Albany County Planning Board, which just hired another professional planner. They're within the Department of Public Works. They, from time to time, will also take positions at odds with a local municipality. They will vote not to approve a local development plan if it's not consistent with the good of a county road or a county highway, or there's a deleterious effect on a local community. So there is a strong planning function, and we should encourage that. But we have a charter that says that the economic developer has to be a certified planner. Well, you can't have someone, the person who advocates for the project shouldn't be the person in charge of approving the project. That's where you should have the dynamic tension. So I'd like to see some real professional economic development to help the IDA, to help the people in this county really create jobs. And that's why I'm listening.
Mr. Ward, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know there's a lot been said, I don't want to repeat, but most of the economic development agencies in this area that are successful do not have planners as the head CEO per se. They have salespeople, they have communicators, but they have a lot of planners under people that know planning, and then also, planning is usually a local function. The county has a planning department, they're mostly advisory, the planning board is advisory, the locus to that jurisdiction. But going back a few years, a little bit of history, some of you will remember, we did have an economic development director that was not a planner, she was a communicator. In fact, she was the director of communications who wanted to give planning and economic development a try. And in my opinion, was the best that I've seen in my 24 years. She got everybody together, she got all the municipalities, she got the Regional Planning Commission, the Transportation Commission, CDTA, all the chambers, she got them all at the table, and we actually came up with a draft regional compact for Albany County. And I actually still have it. I bet nobody else does, including the county executive's office. There was some headway made because we had a communicator, we had somebody to get everybody together, and that is what we need in this county. And this position has been vacant for years, maybe even a decade. And I think the biggest problem, there's two problems. They can't decide on a candidate, but the big problem is we're hamstrung by the fact that it has to be a planner. And Mr. Simpson, I have a great deal of respect for your work in civil service, and I understand what you're saying. But we, as this body, the legislature, has to confirm any commissioner that is put in place. And it would be an insult to our intelligence to put somebody that wasn't qualified into the position. That's all I have. Thank you.
Remind Mr. Simpson, Mr. Drake, 5 minutes total, 3-minute revolves, so try to limit, but I got a couple other people at the end of this.
Real quickly, I think the initial experience kind of belies the premise that the real issue is the difficulty of having somebody who has both economic and planning expertise. It was clear that the first candidate that was promoted for this position in 2016 had clearly a public relations background, but yet they were supposedly going to fit into, they didn't even have the economic development experience. Every position this person had was explicitly a public relations position. Public relations doesn't conflate to economic development, conservation, or planning. But the real problem I have is the initial fact that they were willing to support a person who had no economic development experience shows me that there wasn't a good faith effort to do a search. I am hard pressed to understand when the state has people who make $80,000 in economic development would not consider taking a county job for $120,000. I also have a problem with the fact that the Dormitory Authority and several other state agencies that deal with the dynamism of the New York State economy, we can't find somebody that has both economic and planning experience. I don't believe there was really a good faith effort to make a search, and I think until that's done, it's premature to even consider that, although on the merit, I still think it's a faulty conception.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Ms. McLean-Lane.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. My statement I'm going to make is just a little bit different. I have to say that we have economic development at the federal level. We have economic development at the state level. We have economic development at the town colony. We even had an economic development director at the Village of Manassas. And last time I checked, our governor had wanted us to do consolidation of services. So if we could find a way to maybe consolidate it all into one, I don't want to pay again for another person to not be able to do this job, allegedly, that is just so terribly being done right now in Albany County. I mean, I was just told people are leaving, but that's upstate New York outside of Albany County. Albany County is increasing in population. The town of Albany, I believe you did say, Mr. Bergdorf, was bursting at the seams in numerous meetings. And the fact is that I truly believe that this economic development thing, we just voted down a piece of legislation at the beginning of this meeting where everybody from the business community said businesses shouldn't be told that they know how to do this. You let business take care of this. I think business is pretty capable of doing their own development. So we have to now pay somebody $90, $100, I don't know, whatever, $1,000 a year, because business is unable to do this. Business is unable to come together at the table through their chamber or through any other sort of entity to be able to do economic development. We have programs, for example, we have the Altech facility, which is now being developed. We had a developer come in. He's utilizing 2 state programs, the Brownfield program, plus hopefully the historic tax program. And he's putting together possibly a solar array that will also utilize some other financial benefits that were put together by the state of New York. You know, our body came together and through conveying his property over, et cetera, we got that done. And we didn't need an economic development director to do it. Now, I realize that this is already here, but I still believe that business, unless they're coming to us saying, we need an economic development director, and I want the county to provide it, I have yet to hear that. Has anybody heard that?
Yes.
There you go.
Told you how they all.
But where were they coming from? Where was that business
This is
located?
a global
No.
economy that
Where
we're
was that
living.
business located?
It could be from anywhere in the world.
No. Where is that business located? That came to you to say this?
See, well, you gotta understand
No.
economic
Where is
development.
that business located that came to you and said this? You said you heard this.
I will,
Okay.
if I could. I'm not gonna give you a specific business, but I'm gonna tell you that we live in a global economy, all right? We get business leads. The people go to ESDC and they say, find me some properties. And ESDC goes to the county economic development directors. We got a theme here. We don't have one. So it goes to Rensselaer, goes to Schenectady. Metroplex gets them all right? Rensselaer County gets them all. Albany County does not have a director. We find local businesses, the local economic developers will find local businesses. And every once in a while we'll get one from out of country or out of state. But we're missing the boat. Albany County is missing the boat of economic development. We were gonna let ACO go to another county if it wasn't for us stepping in and going to the county executive and going to developers that we knew had land and saying, we need ACO. We would have lost 250 jobs. Now we got 500 and we got a whole new development plan. I know Mr. Bergdorf, you're worried about traffic. They're working with you on that. All right? They're working with you on that.
There's the good and the bad.
There's good and bad. However, that was an undeveloped site right in the middle of Colony.
Perfect.
It was gone forever. And we were going to lose that because we had no economic development.
People came together and got it done.
Pardon?
People came together and got it done.
That's because we got lucky. All right? We got lucky. We heard about it. All right? The state heard about it and they gave it to Rensselaer, they gave it to Schenectady, they gave it to Saratoga. All right? We were going to lose all
Did
those
they tell
jobs.
you it was because we didn't have an economic development? The state?
There's nobody to go to.
The county executive's office.
No.
That's the whole point.
Chairman.
Mr. Mullins, we got an order here. We got people raising their hand. You're next, Mr. Mullins.
He said, he yelled to me.
Okay.
But I'm a member of the Capital District Regional Planning Commission, and we did a nationwide search to come up with a quality economic development leader for this county and the Fort County region. And we have Mark Passio, who represents all of us in economic development. He has so many good ideas that's never been tapped into. He came from the, I think, Mid-Hudson region Valley. That's right. And he's doing a wonderful job. He's never been consulted by our county executive's office or any of his staff about any great ideas about planning or anything to do with planning. This man has so many skills that's untapped. He's spoken here on the board 2 or 3 times. He's open to any ideas and suggestions on how to engage him and his corporation. And I don't know why we are reluctant to ask this man for advice. He's been tapped down to do the raise the aid and build the juvenile detention center. That's a part, and you know, Alex, because I came to your office for some research, of the whole plan for this whole region. So we have resources, but for some reason politically, we don't tap into them. So we gotta fix our politics or fix our leadership mind to be able to be serious about what we're gonna do. Instead of just throwing money at patronage job people, whoever will do what you want to do always, especially when you like to do maybe some of the skills to get the big job done. And this is a big job we're gonna pull together. Economic development in Albany County, good old historic Albany County, the region, the leader for the whole region. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mullins?
We had a phone call today from a gentleman I dealt business with, looking to help develop Lincoln Farms, the owners of Lincoln Farms. And they had the land back to one developed, and I referred them to, last year. I mean, but we don't, that's not what I do. Only because I've done projects with these people before, and I know. Same thing with the Volsies. We've done Colony. The County CRC did that project. But what we need is a quarterback. We need somebody, I think that's what Sean used to call it. We need somebody who they can call. And somebody can coordinate all these different IDAs and CRCs throughout the county. There's no one point person. Now, we really should wait to see what the county executive is doing a study now. I don't know if that's going to be done, should be done pretty soon. They've been working on it for a while, on economic development. Talk to everybody in the county. I talk to everybody, just to give our input. But from my perspective, I'm a marketing guy. I'm a marketing specialist. Did it for 45 years, being a piece of living at it. That's what you want. That's what you want who's selling Albany County. You need somebody who's got a marketing background, sales background. You go out and promote Albany County in conjunction with the planning and the zoning boards. Because let me tell you something. I ran into projects where in Albany City would work fine, but Colony would do it. Because what their philosophies in Colony are different than they are in the city of Albany. Colony don't need the tax base. They don't need to get pilot grants. You're not going to get them. Build an apartment in Colony so you can get a pilot. Ain't going to happen. So that's why you need somebody who knows all these things that can go out and point the developer in the right direction, because he knows he's going to need a pilot So it's, well, maybe Connie ain't gonna work, maybe Green Island will work, maybe Albany will work. That's what you need, that's what we need here. Now, as far as the salary, it varies so much. There's guys out there making 150.
More.
You know, or more, the good ones.
120 is the lowest.
Yeah, I mean, so because of their background and their context, that's what you're buying, their experience. And that's what this position should be, through the county executive office. Because there's nobody out there right now, to try to help coordinate all these different IDAs in the county. That's what we're really looking for. And then hopefully we'll get some more business out of it. Thank you.
Mr. Drake, you got 3 minutes.
I'm honored. I appreciate Mr. DeValowitz helping me with that. I feel compelled to respond to Mr. McLean-Lane and to Mr. Simpson. First of all, what does this have to do with climate change? I missed that part.
Conservation?
We're talking about economic development right now.
We're talking about a division.
All right, gentlemen.
Anyway, in 2016, that gentleman that was, brought forth, he voted down because he wasn't qualified. I mean, I don't know why we're still arguing about it. That's what it was. He's not qualified. Somebody is qualified, we're going to vote him in, right? Isn't that the idea? But part of the problem with obtaining a candidate is, as Gary pointed out, we're not offering the salary, and I think Mr. Ward seconded here, we're not offering the salary commensurate with the position of somebody who is experienced and has a long list of contacts. When you want to get this stuff done, you hire somebody who gets work done. You don't hire them necessarily from within, you hire them for their track record. They implement, they get things moving. When Gary comes and says, hey, I have an idea, he or she takes that idea and then runs with it. I mean, that's what the job of this economic development director is to run with it, to seize the day, right? On our behalf, all the communities that we represent. So when Mrs. McLean-Lean says, why are the businesses there not asking them to provide it? That's because everyone we interviewed from all of the different municipalities said this is exactly what we need to have done. Businesses and employers benefit from other businesses and employers coming in. That's the idea. Competition is not only healthy, but it strengthens the community. Ms. McLean-Lean, because Conley is bursting at the seams with people, doesn't mean we're bursting at the seams with economic development. They're two different things. So residences cost you money as a tax base, right? But businesses make you money as a municipality. So we want economic development. That's what this isn't about. It's not about population mitigation or increase. With economic development will come population stability or increase. One follows the other. As your economics fail, your population leaves. I mean, it's a simple relationship. So the Saratoga County example, the Rensselaer County example, the Schenectady County example, they're doing what we should be doing. We are the heart of upstate New York. Let's take the opportunity, okay? Let's capitalize on that. Everybody, capitalize Albany. Town of Albany, Gillen, Bethlehem, the Chamber, all these people all came. This is what they want. Let's give them what they want. Thank you.
Mr. Reinhardt.
Well, in our committee, we passed this out without approval. We were split vote. And I would say that the primary reasons were concern about getting rid of the planning qualifications, and also, as Mr. Simpson said, is the issue of patronage. I believe that this will end up being a lesser qualified, maybe they will be a booster, but it will be a patronage job, and it will not be the job that it could be if we keep the higher level of qualifications in there. I should say, as I've said in committee, I'm a trained city and regional planner. I've worked with planners my whole life. I actually know several who I've worked with in my career at NYSERDA who were both boosters and planners. There's nothing that says these things cannot work together. In fact, they work better together. They're working better together in Bethlehem, I believe, right now, with our current director. The point I want to make is, One of the core principles, frankly, of planning is that you can have good planning at each municipality in the district, like the capital district. But guess what? When you look at the entirety of it, it doesn't work. Everybody is optimizing to their own little situation. And then when you look at it with a bigger picture, it doesn't work. And you have sprawl, and you have all kinds of diseconomies, which in a little given community decision process, you don't see that, you don't quantify it. What you need planning for, whether it's at state, federal, or county level, is to have that comprehensive view that can integrate these a lot of different information, not necessarily something boosters can do, and understand the relationships of all these different things. That's what this position as currently exists, and I think that's why the charter founders put it in that way, is they wanted that level of understanding. I do not believe, frankly, that there are not people who want to work in Albany County for that kind of money with the kind of qualifications that currently exist. I don't know the process that's been gone through, I confess that. But I would think that if you went to my alma mater at Cornell, or you went to my alma mater at the University of Penn, where I studied planning, or Rutgers, you would find people who actually are interested in doing this, and they are planners, and they have, because of whatever life experiences, they're really excited about being a booster for Albany County, the state capital, et cetera, et cetera. I really cannot believe that if you actually did a broad search, not just for people that you know already, but an actual search for qualified people, you would find people who could do it, and they would work for the salary that we currently have on the books. I find it mind-boggling to think that that could not be done. So maybe, maybe we need to think about how do we actually go about searching before, and was that the way to go? But I think whether it's right now or whether it's 5 years from now, you're going to end up with what I would call a lesser qualified person filling that patronage position, and we're not going to get the comprehensive planning effort that the county deserves.
Long roll call on local law and
Peston. Bullock.
No.
Bergdorf.
Yes.
Kale.
Yes.
Chapman. I didn't hear you, Chapman. Clay. No. Clay?
No.
Camiso. Kraus.
No.
Dawson.
No.
Demolowitz.
Yes.
Drake.
Yes.
Ethier.
Yes.
Feeney.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes.
Fanier.
Yes.
Grimm.
Yes.
Higgins. Hogan.
Yes.
Andrew Joyce.
no.
Raymond Joyce.
No.
Lakakis.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Mariello.
Yes.
Mayo.
No.
McKnight.
No.
McLean Lane.
No.
Mendick.
Yes.
Miller.
No.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Plosky.
No.
Reinhardt.
No.
Simpson.
No.
Smith.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Touche.
Yes.
Tunney.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Willingham.
Yes.
I have 14 no, 24 yes.
Local law and passes 24 to 14. I'd like to remind everyone we still have folks who would like to speak, so we will adjourn and reconvene at 9:50. Motion to adjourn. Second? All those in favor? Reconvene at 9:50 to finish the public forum.